Hello, I'm Angela, and welcome to the Recycled Cottage and Garden. And this is another installment in the ABCs of Personal Growth. I will put a link in the description below to link to the article where this idea came from. I'm doing one a day, and today we're on P, which is for prioritize. That sounds like, okay, what does that have to do with personal growth? Exactly. Sounds a little odd, but it's not. Prioritize is a very good word. Let me adjust this a little bit. I'm trying to get it where I don't have a glare on my glasses without my head being down. So, and it's getting a little harder as the sun's moving in the sky. Anyway, um, prioritize. Okay. According to the article, which I'll link in the description box, you want to do the most important things first every day. There are some days that I will sit down and I will write a list of all the stuff I have to do, and I'll kind of put a little star beside the most important ones. So I make sure those have to get done if nothing else does. Sometimes I have to prioritize by places I might have to go. If I have to go to the post office to drop off a package, that's a big priority. That's the first thing that's got to happen so that that's done in a timely manner. And from there, if I've got shopping to do, I tend to do the shopping in a particular order. So I will choose to go to the furthest point first after the post office runs are done, if that's something that had to be done. Then I'll go to, we're on a tight budget as far as groceries and whatever's needed. So I have three places that I go to. One is Walmart, which is the furthest away from me. It's about 10 blocks away. Now, it's not very far, but that's the one that's furthest. So I'll go there first and pick up what I know I can't get at the second stop, because the second stop is Dollar Tree. There are certain items that I will buy there, and nowhere else, because they're $1 and they're decent items. And this is the smallest Dollar Tree you will have ever seen, and it's not got the full that some people do, and it doesn't have as much as the store. It's a fourth the size of a store in the town that I moved from, and that was a small town, but it's much smaller than that. So there are certain things there that I will buy there and nowhere else, because they're $1. You can't get it any cheaper anywhere else. But my first stop is going to be Walmart, um, because if they have certain grocery items, and ours is not a full Walmart with grocery section, ours has 5 aisles, and they're short aisles, they're about 10 feet long, that have dry goods, canned goods. And then they have two coolers up front, which have milk. Milk price is not bad. Their butter price is outrageous. I don't know why. Because, well, part of it's mostly because they generally don't have anything but Land of Lakes, which is like the most expensive butter you can buy, unless you're buying the imported stuff. Um, and then the rest of it is filled with soda, which I'm not buying. So, Walmart's my first stop. For certain household goods I can't get anywhere else, or I can't get the quality for the price anywhere else. There are certain canned goods, and staples like flour and sugar I may not be able to get anywhere else any cheaper. And I've always checked the grocery sale papers first. Then I'll go to the Dollar Tree, pick up what I may need there. And then if I still have items to get, my third option is the Safeway grocery store because I do have a Safeway card which saves you money and they usually have something on sale I want. So I've prioritized my grocery run, which is about once every 2 weeks. That's like that, where I'm going that many places. So that's a prioritization. You can prioritize what you want to do around the house. You can prioritize what you're doing at work. That's always something you have to remember that has to be done. And that can change every single day, depends on what your duties are. And the boss may come in the middle of the day and say, I need you to do this right now. Well, that means you got to stop everything else you're doing and take care of that. So it's a constant shifting and prioritizing of what's most important to be done right then. Sometimes it's helpful, very helpful, to make a list. And I did that when I moved. Made a list. What's got to get done before I actually leave? What am I taking? What am I not taking? What am I getting rid of? When am I going to get the things I'm not taking out of here? How's that going to happen? Stuff to think about, but jot down notes about it as you go. So then you're not overstressed with it. A lot of people do this birthdays and Christmas time. They write down people's names that they want to do gifts for. What are they going to want? Is it something you're going to make? How long is it going to take to make that item? You want to write those kind of things down so that you know not only what are you going to give somebody. Say you've got a list of 12 people, family members that you're going to get gifts for. Okay? You're going to write down what are they going to want or what could they want. What sizes do they wear if it's clothing of some sort. Favorite colors, that kind of thing. You may not have to write that part down. It just may be just stuck in your head. I like to make presents if I'm doing them. So I would generally write down what I was going to make the person based on what I know their likes are. And then work on what's the time frame. So I would start several months ahead making this out. And, how long is it going to take me about to make this? I've now gotten to the point where none of us need anything, really. So we don't really do Christmas presents, which is fine. So how else do we prioritize? We can prioritize our day just if we're at home. Okay. We know we want to eat chicken for dinner tonight. How do I want to cook it? How long is that going to take? What's going to go with it? And how long does that take? So which do you cook first? Or is it simultaneous? Things like that. But thinking about it ahead of time, sometimes making a list for it can help keep things prioritized and keep you moving. Now, how does that help you grow? Well, you're using your brain power, which always helps you grow. And I would say that teaching yourself to put things in the proper order of when it has to be done or needs to be done, even if it's not a has to, but when it needs to be done so that it all comes out properly, is going to help you to grow. I had a dear friend. She was getting a bit elderly, but she'd never done too much of the cooking before her husband passed away. He did most of it because it's something he enjoyed. So there are certain things she didn't learn how to do. One of those was prioritizing. She invited me over to her apartment for dinner one night. okay. Usually we went out somewhere, but she wanted to cook something. I was served a vegetable first while she was cooking the the main entree part of it. Wasn't served together. Okay. So then she got the entree done and she brought that to the table. Now, in the meantime, she's kind of nibbling on things while she's cooking because, or coming and sitting and eating a few bites and then jumping up, going back into the kitchen, which is like 2 steps away, um, to work on cooking the next thing. She didn't know how to cook more than one thing at a time. It was an interesting dinner. The food was very good, but it was weird that you didn't have your plate full and she had her plate full and you sat together. It was a little different. I never experienced that before. Didn't complain because the food was great, the company was great, but she'd never learned to prioritize what needed to be cooked when or how to do more than one thing at a time. Just an example of what can happen. And, it's fine if you like eating that way. That's perfectly fine. Um, Not my favorite way to eat, but, it was different. But I'm going to go ahead and stop this one here today because I've rambled on long enough on prioritizing. And it does make you grow because you learn new things as you go. So make a comment down below if you have one. Comments are always welcome as long as they are nice and polite and helpful. If they are ugly, they will go away. But for the most part, I like to let people have their say. And like the video if you do, check out the rest of them in the series. Um, and mostly I do crafty type videos. So you're welcome to check out anything I've got up there. And we'll talk to you next time. Thanks.